Welcome back, Vikings, to Distance Learning for Middle School, Social Studies Day 3. If you watched the last video talking about how to do the mind map and the different options that you have for the mind map, thank you. If not, please go ahead and check out that other one. Also, wanted to make sure you knew that in the app, in the desktop app, just click review and read aloud.
Instructions. Read the
In the app, you can click review and then read aloud, and that robotic voice will read it to you. If you would rather I read it to you, then thanks for staying and welcome for the ride. Okay, here we go. What China's coronavirus response can teach the rest of the world excerpted. An excerpt means that it's just a small part. So this is not the entire news article that we have for you. This is just a little piece of it. By David Saranowski, I think, Nature.com, March 17th, 2020. As the new coronavirus marches around the globe, countries with escalating outbreaks are eager to learn whether China's extreme lockdowns were responsible for bringing the crisis there under control. Other nations are now following China's lead and limiting movement within their borders, while dozens of countries have restricted international visitors. In mid-January, Chinese authorities introduced unprecedented measures to contain the virus, stopping movement in and out of Wuhan, the center of the epidemic, and 15 other cities in Hubei province, home to more than 60 million people. Flights and trains were suspended, and roads were blocked. Soon after, people in many Chinese cities were told to stay at home and venture out only to get food or medical help. Sounds familiar, right, Vikings? Some 760 million people, roughly half the country's population, were confined to their homes, according to the New York Times. It's now 2 months since the lockdowns began, some of which are still in place, and the number of new cases there is. That sounds weird. It's now 2 months since the lockdowns began, some of which are still in place, and the number of new cases there is around a couple of dozen per day, down from thousands per day at the peak. That's a really weird sentence. Sorry. These extreme limitations on population movement there have been quite successful, says Michael Osterholm, an infectious disease scientist at the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis. In a report released late last month, the World Health Organization, WHO, congratulated China on a unique and unprecedented public health response that reversed the escalating cases. But the crucial question in which interventions in China were the most important in driving down the spread of the virus, says Gabriel Lung, an infectious disease researcher at the University of Hong Kong. The countries now facing their first wave of infections need to know this, he said. So what are the lessons for other countries? Tatum and Lai's model assesses the combined effect of China's early detection and isolation, the resulting drop in contact between people, and the country's intercity travel bans on reducing the virus's spread. So, the big things. This is a lot of information in a sentence. So because China was able to detect it early, was able to isolate the problem, so people who had the virus or who had come in contact with people who had the virus were put into isolation. And then the drop in contact between people, so social distancing like we're doing now, and the country's intercity travel bans, so people were not going, say, from Reno to Las Vegas or from New Jersey to New York. That's interstate, but still. But that big travel ban helped to reduce the virus's spread. Together, these measures prevented cases from increasing by 67-fold. Otherwise, there would have been nearly 8 million cases by the end of February. The effect of the drop in contact between people was significant on its own. Using mobile phone location data from Chinese internet giant Baidu, the team found a dramatic reduction in people's movements, which they say represents a huge drop in person-to-person contact. Without this decrease, there would have been about 2.6 times as many people infected at the end of February, the pair says. But early detection and isolation was the most important factor in reducing COVID-19 cases. In the absence of those efforts, China would have had 5 times as many infections as it did at the end of February. If you are to prioritize, early detection and isolation are the most important, says Tatum. The impact of school closures in China is unknown. A preprint study of the spread of COVID-19 in Shenzhen has found that although children are just as likely to be infected as adults, it is still not clear whether children, many of whom do not show symptoms, can transmit the virus. You can tell that this article is very, I mean, technically very old, because now, April 6th, this was written March 17th, so almost a month later, we do know that children can transmit the virus. Anybody can transmit the virus. There was a tiger in New Jersey in New York that tested positive for coronavirus. It was the first animal in the United States that was proven to transmit it. Newborn babies have gotten it. So anyone, whether you show symptoms or not, can transmit coronavirus. This will be critical in evaluating the impact of school closure, says Lessler, the co-author of the study. So a lot to think about, Vikings, but the big thing that I want for this article is I want your visual representation. So go ahead, and the main idea you already know for this article is Chinese responses to COVID-19. And then tell me the things that they did. What actions did they take? How they were able to stop the spread, and then something else that you found interesting in the article, and then give me other pieces of information that can go along with it. I hope you are having an okay time. I hope that you are staying safe, staying healthy. I hope that you're washing your hands. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to email or contact your teachers. Go Vikings!